Today's First Alert afternoon weather update is brought to you by Lockhart Roofing.
Good Friday, everyone. Meteorologist Stone Schaefer here live for our First Alert weather live stream at 2 p.m. I want to thank everyone for joining me as we take a look towards the rest of our Friday for Friday Night Lights games that are going on later this afternoon/evening. And then as we head into a rainy and windy weekend where many people's plans may get a little wet as you're getting out and about. We'll start off for this afternoon looking at our sky tracker where we mostly see cloudy skies. Much of that rain that we had earlier this morning, well, that has moved out of mid-Michigan and continues to move to the east. Again, not going to be our only rain chance over the next couple of days, but may end up being our only rain chance for Friday. I'm not going to count out some isolated chances later into the afternoon, but for the most part, our rain chances, they have moved out for today. Again, that does change into this weekend. Looking across some of our cameras, this is our Birch Run camera that is showing those cloudy skies, but it is showing dry conditions, so that's always a good thing for anyone that is getting out and about here on our Friday. And then out towards US 10, a very similar sort of eye in the sky with those cloudy skies. We'll continue to see that trend most likely through the rest of our afternoon. The sun may try to peek out closer to sunset, but I think that's a pretty small chance at this point here today. Now looking at our temperatures, here. Let's see if it wants to load. There we go. Looking at temperatures across the region, a little cooler there to the north. West Branch at 55. Our northern counties really sitting mid to upper 50s, and then moving out towards Huron and Sanilac counties also sitting upper 50s, lower 60s. As you start to move sort of towards the west, that's where you start to see more of those lower 60s with 61 in Bay City, 64 in Saginaw, 65 in Flint, and then you have areas like Clare at 66, Alma at 64. As we look at winds, this is also a factor for this weekend. If you've been watching us, you've probably heard it's going to get windy this weekend, and I think this afternoon is going to be the first signs of that increasing wind. Right now, still on the calmer side, 5 to 15 miles per hour, mostly from the south-southwest. Those winds will continue to increase as we get through the rest of today into tonight, with our heaviest winds expected late Saturday night into Sunday morning, and even into Sunday afternoon now. Could see a pretty consistent breeze across much of mid-Michigan. I think our strongest winds are definitely going to be down to the south, Genesee, Lapeer, Sanilac counties. Then especially if you're going down towards Metro Detroit, that will be an area that could see even stronger winds as we get through Sunday, after Sunday morning into Sunday afternoon. But widespread winds up to 15 to 20 miles per hour, definitely a possibility as we get through Saturday and Sunday. Now looking back towards today through the rest of our evening, again, you may catch an isolated rain chance after about 8 p.m. It's pretty small. It's going to be just mostly the cloudy skies, looking to be overcast through the rest of our afternoon into our evening. Sunset for tonight right around 6:48 p.m. Again, not going to see much sun. I'm not going to count a peak or two, but for the most part, overcast skies. But we're dry until about, I'd say, I wouldn't say consistently dry, but obviously our most consistent chances of rain, those are going to show up late Saturday, maybe morning into the early afternoon. Still some timing questions, but that rain will arrive into Saturday. Now, as we get through tonight, lows with that cloud cover, not going to drop very much. It's lower 50s to the mid 50s. Even a few upper 50s do get splashed in there, but Clare, Mount Pleasant at 55 and 53. Midland, Bay City, Saginaw, also between 53 and 55. You'll have our northern counties at 50, with areas like West Branch at 50. And then down to the south, Flint 53, Lapeer 53, Bad Axe at 50. Now, I did quickly want to take a peek towards our weekend with our weekend planner. I'm obviously going to go more sort of a deeper dive with our wind and rain chances, but for anyone joining right now, maybe you had to go do something else. Quickly looking at our weekend planner, temperatures into the lower 70s for Saturday afternoon, and we can see that rain chance increasing. There will still be some isolated chances ahead of that main area early in the day. By midday, starting to see more of that rain chance, especially if you're out towards 127. And then past about 4 p.m. is where we really start to see consistent rain showers wanting to develop. You may hear a few rumbles of thunder through Thursday afternoon or Saturday afternoon, right around 4 p.m. I think the biggest thing for that is going to be gusty conditions, obviously heavy rainfall. Don't expect severe weather, but we'll keep an eye on it. There's been a few signals that, hey, we may get a storm or two that develops and just has enough energy in it that could get us close to that severe weather characteristics. I think it'll be mostly to our south, Shiawassee, Genesee County, and it's a small chance, but I think it's there. We'll just keep an eye on it. We have just the environment possible, but for the most part, it should be just rain and gusty conditions as we get through Saturday afternoon and then into Sunday. It's a very similar outlook. A little bit cooler, lower 60s for our highs, and again, that rain chance more consistent in the morning. Later in the day, that system should start to move out. It does look like, though, a majority of Sunday will hold on to rain chances, and that will be through Sunday night, possibly into Monday morning with that rain. Now, as we look a little bit deeper into this weekend, let's look at wind gusts first. This is this afternoon, 5 p.m. Winds from the south-southwest or southeast at 10 to 20 miles per hour, so definitely breezy as you're heading out and about for your Friday afternoon / Friday evening plans. Then we get into Saturday morning. It's winds at 8 a.m. from the south at 15 to 25 miles per hour. So definitely on the breezy side. May calm down a little bit into the afternoon in some areas, especially to the south. But we can see as we get through Saturday morning, as that low pressure system really starts to push itself through mid-Michigan, winds up to 30 to possibly 35 miles per hour. I'm not going to count out an isolated wind gust up to 40 to 45 miles per hour. I think that chance has definitely started to lower, but it still is a possibility as that low moves through. And we'll calm down midday as we may get a little bit of a break from those winds. It's later into the afternoon now that models start to show stronger wind gust return. This is at 6 p.m., seeing winds now from the north-northwest. So winds will change directions as this low pressure system rolls through the state. It has a cold front that swings around with it, and it's going to change our wind direction on the backside of that low pressure and that cold front. So winds will be from the northwest at really 15 to 30, maybe 20 to 35 miles per hour. Again, that's your max wind gust. It's consistent winds might not be that strong, but definitely noticeable. So if you have any inflatable Halloween decorations, I know we're obviously seeing more and more of those as we get closer to Halloween at the end of the month. You're going to want to make sure those are strapped in so they don't get blown away through our weekend, especially Sunday morning and Sunday afternoon. Obviously, you're going to have some yard work because a lot of those leaves are going to start to fall from our trees, and this is the type of event that really is going to help that process really speed up here as we get through the weekend. So don't be surprised you get out and about Monday and you have some yard work to do, and you're also going to have some wet leaves, so just be careful of that. Obviously, wet leaves and just wet ground makes it a little bit harder to rake once you're getting out and about for your Monday. And then by Monday morning, still seeing strong wind gusts to the east, 20 to 30 miles per hour, but definitely starting to calm down as that low pressure system moves away from mid-Michigan. Now let's look at our hour by hour. And what we see is, again, we're dry for a majority of the afternoon. There is a few isolated cells that want to develop. That's going to be Huron County, Sanilac County right now. Could be more towards the Bay region, Bay City, Saginaw, if that's where it wants to develop. But we're going to see some isolated possibilities from 6 to about 10 p.m., I think. And then as we get up tomorrow morning, we'll start to see another round of rain and then see a more consistent chance right around 10 a.m. This is where most models have been starting to show we could see another round, or at least that first wave of rain, move across the region. This could be heavy at times. Obviously, it could be breezy in a few of these if we can get the right development. And that will move across much of the region through about 2 to 3 p.m. Then we may end up having a drier period later into the afternoon. We're talking about 4 to about 7 p.m. And then as we get into Saturday night, that's where we have more consistent rain start to move itself in. This is at 1 a.m., seeing a pretty large area of rain move itself through mid-Michigan, starting obviously to our west at 127, reaching the Bay region, right around, I'd say, 3 to 4 a.m. on Sunday morning. So that's where probably your best chance for Bay City, Saginaw, Midland is going to be, at least with this sort of first big area of rain, because it's not going to be done after that. We also have some more sort of a secondary round of rain start to move itself in about mid-afternoon. So this is going to be right around 2 to 3 p.m. That we start to see another sort of round of some consistent rainfall move itself in. In terms of when it exits the region, it's going to be early Monday morning. I think by 4 to 5 a.m., most of that rain should be moved out, and we should actually be looking at a pretty dry Monday morning as you're heading off to work or heading off to school, so that's always a good thing. Obviously, roads could still be wet. If we can get a lot of rain, your sidewalks, your grass will be wet, so just be prepared for that. But as everyone's getting up Monday morning, I don't think you're going to need that umbrella quite like you're going to need it for this weekend. Now, in terms of rain totals as we get through the next couple of days, I did want to pull a few. So I did get our 4 comparison for rain predictor out just to show you what models maybe are showing. I think there's a common theme with many of the models. Above an inch. I think it's going to be pretty likely that we see 1 inch to 2 inches. I think the next question will be, where could we see maybe 2 to 3 inches of rain set up as we get through the next couple of days? So I'm actually going to take this full screen just so you guys have a better sort of look at what we're seeing when it comes to our 4 different weather models. And again, there are more models that we use. These are just 4 I pulled out that sort of have a similar image. There is a little bit of difference though here. I think what you see is a common theme of maybe a band of heavier rainfall that stretches right around 127 to the bay. Will it be north or south of the bay? Maybe the next question. Because as we can see here on our top right model, this is the NAM 3 kilometer. It has those sort of higher peak rain amounts right towards the bay, where the graph 4 kilometer model and the European 9 kilometer model, well, those are maybe on the northern side of the bay. So obviously still some question marks, but I think in terms of rain as we head through the weekend, this is through, again, 6 a.m. on Monday, 1 to 2 inches, definitely a possibility, definitely likely for many areas. And then who will get that chance of seeing 2, 3, maybe even more? It's just going to be where our sort of heaviest cells set up as we move through this weekend. How long does this last? If it lasts a little bit longer, starts a little bit earlier, that obviously has some influence. And I did want to show a little bit of an outlier. This is the GFS 25 kilometer model. And what it shows is maybe this system treks a little bit farther north-northwest. So it gives those northwest counties in mid-Michigan those higher amounts. I think you still see a common theme here. You're still seeing lots of areas into that sort of right around 1 inch to 1.25 inches. So definitely something we're going to see. It's a good amount of rain. How much will it sort of help that drought that we've been seeing? I think that's going to be the next question. I think a good thing is this is not the only rain chance over the next 7 days. We do see some more rain into mid next week. That's a possibility. That'll be Tuesday into Wednesday. So that's going to start to help as well, catch us back up to where we need to be when it comes to our rain totals across mid-Michigan. Now, I'll bring myself back up here as we continue to talk about this, but I did want to highlight severe weather threats for the next couple of days. This is Saturday afternoon. The Storm Prediction Center continues to hold on to that non-severe thunderstorm risk. I do think there's going to be a possibility. Again, we see some stronger storms. I'm not going to count that out. It's can they get to that severe weather sort of characteristics? I think that's where we may fall short, but it's going to be close with a few of these cells, especially Saturday afternoon. We'll keep an eye on it here over the next couple of days. Then this is actually for Sunday. I know it says Saturday in the corner. Just need to update that. This is for Sunday. Again, non-severe thunderstorm threat. If you're going to be down towards Metro Detroit on Sunday, that is an area actually that does hold on to a marginal severe weather risk. So we'll see how things develop with that. But a majority, if not all of mid-Michigan for Sunday, holds on to that non-severe thunderstorm threat. And I think that's mostly because we really don't have much heat in the atmosphere. We might have the moisture there being pulled in by that low, but just don't really have all the ingredients for severe weather on Sunday. maybe a little bit more of those ingredients on Saturday, but again, still lacking some of that as we get through the weekend. So right now, I think I anticipate just rain and some strong winds. Again, there's still going to be that possibility we could have a few storms that get some of that energy into our weekend. So I am going to take a quick break right now. Once I come back from that break, I am going to be looking at some of the Friday Night Lights forecast and some of the college games that we have going on across the region. So make sure you stay right here. I'll have more information for anyone that's going out for your Friday Night Light games in just a little bit. Well, welcome back, everyone. Meteorologist Stone Schaefer here. We're going to start off looking at our Friday Night Lights game of the week as Davison takes on Grand Blanc, two undefeated teams, both 7-0, looking to continue their winning ways. Obviously, one of these teams will finally get their first loss of the season. Again, there may be a chance of some isolated showers right at kickoff. For the most part, though, it should be mostly dry with those mostly cloudy skies, temperatures in the lower 60s. You will be dealing with a south wind right around 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusts up to 25 or 20 to 25. So maybe not the most enjoyable game, but a good thing is we're avoiding any of those consistent rain chances through the afternoon into our evening. So I'd bring maybe a poncho and umbrella just in case you do get an isolated cell, but for the most part, you should be on the drier end of things. Another game going on in the region, that is Freeland versus Frankenmuth. Two teams now at 6-1, so very similar. Both teams want to continue their winning ways as we get closer and closer to playoffs here over the next week or two as we get into that playoff time. Again, mostly cloudy skies. You may catch an isolated rain chance, but for the most part, should be dry. Temperatures lower 60s to the upper 50s, and that south wind at 10 to 15 with gusts up to 20 miles per hour. Another game in the region, it's Midland at Mount Pleasant. Mount Pleasant obviously at 7-0. Midland looking to get that upset. Hopefully can put that loss in that column for Mount Pleasant. But both teams obviously continuing to get closer and closer to playoffs. And again, maybe an isolated shower possible. For most of the game, though, you should be dry. Temperatures staying in the 60s and that south wind at 10 to 15 with gusts up to 20 miles per hour. Now on to another game. It's Alma versus Swan Valley. A very similar record, 6-1 at Swan Valley. Than the previous game, you have Alma at 3-4, looking to get that win, get back to 500, and hopefully get closer to that playoff potential here as we get to the last remaining weeks. Mostly cloudy skies, temperatures mid to lower 60s, that south wind at 10 to 15. In the final game I wanted to highlight, it's Mount Pleasant Sacred Heart versus Nouvelle. Both teams 4-3 and Nouvelle at 5-2. Obviously Mount Pleasant Sacred Heart, a team that's bumped up to 11-man for this season, hoping to continue actually a good season at 4-3. You have Nouvelle at 5-2. Very similar forecast, 60s, mostly cloudy skies. A south wind at 10 to 15 with gusts up to 20 miles per hour. Now, I did want to highlight the one college game that we have going on this weekend here in the state. Central, they're at Bowling Green down in Ohio. You have Eastern, they're at Miami, Ohio. Michigan State's at Indiana, and Saginaw Valley and Northwood are both away. So really the only team in the region has that home game, that's U of M. Western Michigan, if you want to head out to the west side of the state, they're actually on bye, so no game this weekend. But Michigan, they're taking on the University of Washington. The Huskies traveling to the state, kickoff at noon. Again, you're going to probably hold some more rain chances later into that game, so if you are heading down there to Ann Arbor, just be prepared. Things could be a little bit wet at times. By the end of that game, cloudy skies definitely a possibility. And then a southwest wind at 10 to 20 miles per hour. So not the most enjoyable looking forecast for the game. Hopefully that rain can hold off a little bit farther to the west, and anyone that's going to head down there to Ann Arbor can enjoy some more college football. Now, before the end of the stream here, I do want to take a look at our 7-day forecast. You have 60s and 70s for today and tomorrow. We're back into the 50s on Sunday. We may see a jump back to the 60s on Monday, but it's after that. Long term, at least for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, a streak of days in the 50s and more rain chances. So scattered rain chance for Tuesday, and then some more isolated showers possible for Wednesday and Thursday. So obviously seeing more rain in our forecast compared to what we've had over at least the last month and a half. I think that's a good thing for anyone that needs that rain. I know not everyone has been that bad with the drought. Some areas have been lucky and avoided the worst of the drought, especially down to our south. But I don't think rain's going to hurt anyone at this point. If you don't want to be outdoors, obviously stay inside this weekend if you want to avoid any of those rain chances. But I do want to thank everyone for joining. I am going to end the stream right here. As always, head over to our website, WNEM.com. There you can catch more local sports, weather, and news. Obviously, we'll have more on those Friday Night Light games later into this afternoon/evening. You can also head over to the Livestream tab. There you can catch more content, including these 2 p.m. streams and any of the other live streams that we have going. Sports has more. They obviously have Saginaw Spirit midweek and Friday Night Lights they are going to be doing, so you can catch those on that tab. And you can also head over to the weather tab on our website. That will keep you up to date with your local weather. I want to thank everyone for joining me. Hopefully you have a wonderful rest of your Friday and a wonderful, really start to your rainy weekend. Hopefully you can avoid the rain chances. I know many will want to try that.
Thank you for joining us. Today's stream has been brought to you by Lockhart Roofing.